Recovery Elevator episode 568.
My highest purpose and joy is when I know that I am here for a reason, and all of our search for meaning is really vital to happiness.
Welcome to the Recovery Elevator Podcast, first episode of the new year. My name is Paul Churchill, and I'm excited to be here with you. On today's podcast, we have Sarah. She's 49 years old, from San Diego, California, and she took her last drink of alcohol on August 6th, 2025. Great job, Sarah. Dolce Vita launch team, we did it. Dolce Vita, my latest book, has hit bestseller status in several categories on Amazon. Thank you all for your help. I'm honored to be walking this journey with you. If you'd like to pick up a copy, Dolce Vita is on Amazon. You can get the audiobook on Audible or order it at your favorite bookstore today. You quit drinking, and now what? Well, I got an idea for you. Let's learn the ukulele together. Starting Saturday, January 10th, we come together as a group for 5 consecutive Saturdays, and we learn how to play the ukulele. This course is geared towards the beginner. You're going to learn a couple chords, a couple strumming patterns, and of course, a couple songs. Maybe even I Am Here, I Am Whole, which is the podcast intro music. This course is also about sobriety and creating accountability. This course is sponsored by Kala brand ukulele, and if you register, you get a code for 10% off an instrument if you need to pick one up. Let's get our jam on. Okay, let's get started. This is the first podcast of the new year, and maybe you're a new listener. We're so glad to have you. So I want to cover some basics and let you know what we're all about. In short, Recovery Elevator is about quitting drinking. The goal is to assist those who are struggling with alcohol, who wish to ditch the booze. Our goal isn't cutting back, not moderation, or putting the beast back in the cage. It's a full send on zero amount of alcohol consumed, as in alcohol has no role in our lives. We're not trying to change our relationship with alcohol here at Recovery Elevator. We're trying to have no relationship at all with alcohol. In fact, why would you want a relationship with a class 1 carcinogen? I want nothing to do with lead in my drinking water. I want zero, and I want zero amount of alcohol in my beverages or bloodstream. Now you might be saying, none? Is that abstinence? That seems a bit extreme. Can't we have just one or simply cut back? Well, let me share a clear data point with you that should cut through your wishful thinking. 568 now consecutive interviewees on this podcast have said that moderation or cutting back didn't work at all. And the reason why? We're trying to control an uncontrollable thing. It's the most addictive drug on the planet. And while we're trying to do so, we're also ignoring a deeper and greater call to grow. Recovery Elevator is all about embracing there is no right or wrong way to ditch the booze. Well, let me make a correction on that. Solo sobriety missions, that's a no-go, even though that's how we all start. So there's no right or wrong way to ditch the booze, just don't do it alone. Here at RE, there is no explanation needed. We get it. What you'll find here on this podcast and within our community Café RE is no judgment. We all know what it's like to swear off booze for good, only to be holding a drink in your hand later in the day. You have found your tribe. You are with your people. Now, before we hear from Sarah, our interview today, I want to mention I no-showed for our first interview in November. I had a packed day, and the interview got buried in my Google Calendar. I wanted to beat myself up for this, but I think that's the first interview I've missed in the last 10 years. So I'm going to give myself a pass, but my bad, Sarah. Now, let's talk about the other side of the mic. This is the interviewees showing up to be interviewed, and I think this is a cool stat to share. So I have been no-showed probably 15 times, meaning I log into our interview room and there's no one to interview. Now, 15 may sound like a lot, but that's over 10 years. And that would be like 3% of scheduled interviewees don't show up. Now, for an interview about what is sharing most likely your deepest struggle to a public audience, That's amazing. And almost everyone before we hit record says they are nervous. So you guys are total badasses. And why are you guys showing up? To serve, to help someone on their journey with alcohol. So you all are showing up, and as long as you do, so will I. And before we hear from Sarah, I want to mention this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The new year doesn't require a new you, but maybe a less burdened you. Therapy can help more easily identify what you need to let go of. Now, I definitely had to let go of alcohol, and there is no way I could have done that alone. Talk therapy was vital to me quitting drinking, which is why we have been working with BetterHelp for over 4 years now. We fully believe in their mission and their goal, which is to make you a better version of you. Let's talk quality therapists. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the US. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is one of the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works, with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/elevator. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/elevator. Sarah, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm grateful for the interview.
Yeah, Sarah, I'm excited to be here with you. Let's get right into it. When was your last drink, Sarah?
It was August 6th, 2025.
August 6th, 2025. That's 125 days. Am I correct on that?
Yes. Whew.
Gotcha. And I didn't just calculate that, listeners, before we hit record. She said 125 days. Congratulations, Sarah. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself when I focus on how many days that is without alcohol. And I'm looking forward to moving forward in this journey. It's a real journey.
Yeah. And Sarah, I do want to make an amends to you. We had an interview scheduled a couple weeks ago, and it was a busy day, and it just got buried in my calendar, and I no-showed. So, Sarah, apologize, and I'm excited to be here with you again. Thanks for rescheduling.
Of course, I was on the beach that day, so I got to hang out there. No big, no big loss.
Wait, you were going to do the interview on the beach?
Yes, I had headphones in and I was ready to do the interview on the
No
beach.
way. That was my loss because I do remember that day. It was a blizzard in Montana.
Oh,
And
it's
listeners,
sunny.
yeah, we
I'm in
do
San
this.
Diego.
Yeah, we do this via Zoom, and I can see the background of the interviewee. That'd have been cool to look at the beach. But right now, I can see Sarah in her art studio. When I logged on, she was doing a painting. I'm curious to hear more about that, how art and creativity have played a role in your recovery. I'm guessing it has. But before we get in your story, Sarah, give listeners a little background about yourself. This is where you're from, what you do for a living, your age. I know you just said San Diego, but what does your family life look like? And then most importantly, Sarah, what do you like to do for fun?
Thanks. Yeah, I was born in San Diego. My parents are still married, still live here. I live here with my partner. I have two daughters. They are 17 and 19. For fun, I surf with my partner. He's a surfboard shaper, and I love to go backpacking with my older daughter. I, of course, do painting, and I live really close to the beach now, so I feel like I'm on a whole new journey now that I get to be right here every day. It's amazing.
How has the beach helped your recovery? For me, walking barefooted in the sand, especially when the sun is close to rising or sun setting, it's quite spiritual or it's just a powerful moment for me.
I agree. I always like to honor the sunset. Like I can see it touch the horizon. I'm like, I made it through a whole day. It's right there. And it's almost like that because the sunset, it counts as a whole day and I don't have to worry about the rest of the night, even though that was like a drinking time. I was like, but the sunset, I made it through today and I can go down on the beach and I can put my toes in the sand and like take that big breath of air and breathe all the way. It's really, really a blessing.
I saw a sunset in San Diego probably 25 years ago, and the neatest thing happened right when the sun dipped behind the horizon is everybody started clapping. I was like, no shit. Of
Yes.
course we should be clapping. This is one of the coolest things ever. It's free, happens nightly, if there's not clouds. But absolutely, we should show our appreciation to Mother Earth and just nature in general.
Definitely. Sometimes the clapping happens spontaneously if there's quite a few people standing on the cliff or something, or if there's a green flash, which is a real thing. I've seen it frequently, where the sun is bright red, but then it drops below the horizon and there's a little flash of green. It's amazing.
Yeah, I need to be honest. I've never seen the green flash, even though I have looked for it so many times. I have logged in recovery. I mean, I so many sunsets. I don't know the number, but that's how I try to gauge success and failure in my life is the amount of sunsets that I get to see. I can tell you when the bottom of the sun hits the horizon, it's 2 minutes and 34 seconds ish, 2:20 to 2:34 before the whole sun goes down.
What? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and for me, the best light is about 17 to 20 minutes after the sun goes down. Usually people go back to their cars or they're like, oh, sun is already set. But
Yeah.
hang tight because I think the light gets even better. Again, I'm kind of a nerd about this. I've tracked it with like a timer, and I think it's like 17 to 20 minutes. And then also there's something that happens in nature. In some places it's more obvious to see or you can notice it. It's like a collective exhale, which happens again like 20 minutes. Actually, this one's longer after the sunset. I think it's like 35 minutes, but it's where it feels like it gets brighter for a second. It's like the plants, the animals, the trees, nature's like, ah, it's time to go to bed. And it doesn't happen right at sunset. It happens like 30 minutes afterward, but you have to be completely silent. You have to be very present. And you're part of it too. Like your body also goes really neat. And I've only witnessed it like 4 or 5 times, but yeah, I have to make a point to do that. And I didn't see this interview going this direction into sunsets, but here we are. Thank you.
No, I think in the forest also, in the mountains and backpacking out there in the wilderness, I experienced that exhale a few times. It's amazing.
That's that's so cool. The best place I've seen it is in the Sacred Valley in Peru. Like 100% of the time, the whole valley is
Mm.
just like, here you go. It releases all this energy at once. Okay, Sarah, let's do what we came here to do. I'm going to turn it over to you with your story into an alcohol addiction and out of one. Cannot wait to hear about those 125 days without alcohol, how you did it. I'm going to jump in with questions as I see fit, but go for it.
All right. So I feel like I had a pretty idyllic childhood and Irish Catholic Southern Californian family, really big family. There was always alcohol around, like beer, and um, kind of unconcerned with it when I was growing up. My parents drank a little usually, but sometimes a lot if there was an event, but it didn't really affect our lifestyle, I don't think. And I just remember that I was kind of a worried child, and I think I always had a tendency toward like overthinking and just being a little bit of that quote unquote addicted personality. And I still find myself like wanting to be overly addicted to whatever the thing is, whether it's surfing or sugar or alcohol. So I didn't really drink. I was on the cross country team throughout from seventh grade until my sophomore year in college. And so drinking kind of stayed out of it. And it was more like I got my hit of dopamine from running and from exercise. And that carried me through. And I didn't really even bother with alcohol or drugs or anything, and neither did my friends throughout high school. And I had a margarita with my mom in the kitchen with my sister, who's 13 months older than me. And I was like, well, that's kind of boring because I think I really liked my friends in my life, and I wasn't really interested in alcohol. But I did have like I needed that perfectionism. I needed to find somewhere where I was going to be like funnier or happier or just more interesting. And I found that once I quit running, all of my enthusiasm kind of fizzled. And I had to quit running because I got injured. And so I was looking for something. Um, it didn't really matter if I drank alcohol now. So um, I was a sophomore in high school, I mean college, and I started to participate in like the parties at school. I went to the University of Notre Dame, and the dorm life was was pretty much people snuck alcohol into the dorms and had little parties in their dorm rooms, and then going out, people would have drinks. And so I experimented and drank at parties on the weekends and found that that those inhibitions, which made me super insecure growing up as a kid, and through that everybody experiences this, like, oh, alcohol relieves my super hyper self-awareness, and I can listen to other people and engage with them, and I stop worrying, and oh my gosh, I actually had my first kiss as like, what was I, like 18 before that happened, and I was just like, oh man, I was too insecure to even like date. Like, oh, this alcohol is really helpful. And unfortunately, it was really fun and freeing. And so I didn't drink a whole lot, but I definitely had college episodes where I had so much that I couldn't remember. And I was like 19 and 20. And specifically one night, going out the night before, after finals at Christmas break, I was a junior in high school, and I mean college, and I drank so much that my friends had to take me back. I couldn't make it up to my dorm room, so I was like barfing in the downstairs bathroom at the bottom of the dorm, like, and it was 6 a.m. and I had a flight out of Chicago at like noon, and I was like telling them to call my mom and dad because I wasn't going to make that flight. So I definitely was like, I hate this alcohol thing early on. Like, it was rad to be able to release my inhibitions, but it also, like, I couldn't moderate. I did go through some time later on where I was like, take it or leave it. It's just alcohol. But that was moving forward. I began to develop an eating disorder in college, and that lasted throughout my 20s and 30s and 40s. And I went to treatment for that multiple times. So I used food as a replacement for alcohol as far as self like medicating, self-medicating. And I stopped using alcohol and I started using food as like a source of control, a source of like, yeah, that kind of thing.
Sarah, I heard you say you had trouble moderating alcohol in college, and then the food became a thing. Did you switch that and just say, I won't drink, I'll go with food?
I didn't consciously switch it. I just stopped. I stopped eating for a time, and then I stopped drinking, and I got obsessed with weight.
Okay.
So then I couldn't drink alcohol because I was obsessed. I just switched one obsession for the other. I could not moderate alcohol, and then I couldn't moderate food.
Gotcha.
So in that food journey, it took a really long time. I did a lot of treatment. And in 2019, right before COVID, like 3 months before COVID, my kids were like 8 and 10. Or no, 8 and 11. I realized I had to divorce from my husband because he and I we couldn't communicate anymore. And so I separated. And I met a person who really was going through the same thing. And we met in the ocean and we surfed there, like, just happened to see each other over the course of like 5 years. But he is pretty instrumental in my recovery because once I separated from my husband, I actually told him about the eating disorder, my new friend, and he helped me get into a treatment program. And in that program, I realized I was using alcohol to like self-medicate as well as the food. And so in recovering from food, I started using alcohol, like hiding it as a meal replacement. I was like, why am I hiding this alcohol? And then I was pretending like I was just replacing meals with beer, and then once I realized like that the beer was giving me enough energy, I started like being excited I didn't have to deal with food because I could just drink beer. And so then it became a problem. And I was like 40 years old when I started doing that. Like, I feel like I should have gone through this problem when I was like in my 20s. And I didn't even start having this problem until I was 40 something. But I knew it was a problem when I was recovering from the eating disorder. I was like, crap, now I have a different problem. Why, God, are we having me have another problem? And I knew that the God I knew, I was raised Catholic, actually wanted this great, amazing person to come out and to be present and to thrive. And I didn't know how to find her at all. And it was really hard for me to see myself from the outside repeating this behavior where I would drink every single day. And I would be like, okay, today I know I don't want to drink because that's not where my ideal self resides. And I would get up, I would do a few things, and then by lunchtime I'd be super hungry and I'd go get my beer. And I would go get like a giant can of beer at the mini mart and drink the whole thing for my lunch. And so one of the ways that I tried to get out of it was to try to go on vacation, try to go backpacking. So I booked a trip with my daughter and my partner and a friend to go to Havasupai. And Havasupai is like this spiritual place that you can backpack down into the Grand Canyon and camp by these waterfalls. And I had to have exactly what to eat and exactly no drinks around. And I did this, and I had a string of days from backpacking.
Sarah, when
So
was that trip?
that trip was 4 years ago.
And Sarah, let me jump in and ask a question. Earlier, you mentioned like your higher power was trying to help Sarah connect with Sarah. I know that's not how you said it, but that's how I heard it.
No, that's right.
And you'd wake up, it's the food, and you're like, oh my God, now it's the alcohol thing. And here, there's no explanation needed with me and the listeners. Like, we get it. But I just want to ask you, was there a moment where you lost hope? You're like, come on, this is too much. I'm not going to make it out of this.
Yes. Yes. And I wanted to know if I should check into full-time rehab. I wanted to know myself, can I make a decision to give up what I'm doing here and just go away? And I don't have a right answer. Like, nobody's telling me, oh yeah, you should definitely go to rehab or, check in full time to a hospital. But I felt like that was my only action. So I was like, well, do I have to do that, or can I just cut off all access to these problems by going backpacking? And I was like, oh gosh, maybe try that first. Um, and that was 4 years ago. And I think I could have gone to rehab. It may or may not have made things happen faster, but it came out of that with a long string of days. I got like 2 weeks alcohol free, but then I was like, well, why was I not drinking alcohol? I don't remember. Now I'm eating food right, so maybe I can have a beer with everybody. It's just right back into like having a beer every single day instead of lunch. So it was pretty obvious, constantly trying to. I had listened to tons of the Café RE podcast, and I'd gone to a bunch of AA meetings. I gathered tons of information. How do I heal? How do I stop doing the same thing over and over? Every day I wake up and I say I'm not, and then I am. And like, how can I possibly do the opposite of what I'm going to say every day? And it was such a hard lack of self-love and self-respect. And I cried a lot to my partner when he would see me hiding alcohol. And I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. You're completely right. I'm completely wrong. He drank a lot too. He's also an alcoholic. So I quit multiple times, but he was drinking. If I could fast forward to like a year and a half ago, I had gone on multiple like 2-week breaks from alcohol, couldn't gain traction, even with a sponsor in AA and all of that. Um, and he got in a really bad car accident, DUI. It wasn't a bad car accident. It was a DUI where he hit someone, but he couldn't remember anything.
Wait, your sponsor did,
My
or your
my partner, I could
partner?
call him my husband. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was an alcoholic. We drank tons together when we met. But his journey after I tried to stop for a long time, he got a DUI in jail, almost killed himself. He was just lucky. And he stopped drinking for an entire year before I could even get more traction than 3 months. Like, I
Wow.
got 3 months, and this is my most days ever.
Sarah, let me jump in and ask this question. Usually we hear the higher power after the sobriety date. You mentioned you were raised Catholic and you've mentioned the higher power. What was your contact like with your higher power before this 125-day stretch, right? When you were saying, I want to do the opposite of what I'm doing, right? We all wake up in the morning, I'm done today. Then later that day, evening, whatever, we're drinking. We get that. How were you trying to make contact with your higher power? What asks, were you praying? Were you asking? Were you demanding? What did that look like before your sobriety date?
I think I operate in I'm going to pray that you can show me what to do, pray that you can keep me out of this alcohol situation, pray that you can help me, eat the right meals. So I prayed to God and also asked to be of service to him. And I acknowledge I'm not of service to anyone when I'm drinking or when I'm in an addiction. So I was looking for a response, a help. Like I wanted somebody to physically come down, put their hand on me and be like, I exist. Now do the right thing. And I couldn't get enough of that. And I felt like if, I was St. Paul carrying like, and God struck me down and said, I am here, I would get up and I would be healed. But that didn't happen. It took me years, 2, 3 years of going to AA, listening to podcasts, working on myself, trying to heal from things, to have enough tools to just decide this is not an option anymore and actually follow through with it. Yes, I feel like drinking now. That is not an option. I'm going to have a sandwich. Like that was what I had to just talk myself through.
Sarah, when did that land with you of this is not an option? Because that takes a while to penetrate both the conscious and the unconscious.
That's a good question. Around July 4th, I relapsed from a really nice 3.5 months of sobriety with my home group of AA. And I was like, really, I've had momentum. And then I was just like, somebody who I knew died. He was like 435. And I was like, well, what's the point anyway? And it was in the middle of summer and I drank again. And then all of my positive momentum about who I am and who my spirit is just demolished from just drinking a little. And it wasn't a huge relapse. It was just like, oh my gosh, I am not who I say I am. I am not who God says I am when I drink. And I had to start over, go back to day zero. And it was only like 2 weeks that I was in this horrible depression and couldn't find myself.
Was
And
that this year?
this year, this was this
This July 4th.
July, this
Gotcha.
July, and my sobriety date is August 6th. So it was just that month of July when I was like, just I have no sense of who I am
Another higher
if
power
I drink.
question, Sarah.
Yeah.
Do you ever get upset with your higher power or angry or like, hey, I've been asking, I've been seeking your guidance, trying to, where are you?
I do. And one of the things that I write down is that, yeah, I am resentful when God does not answer me. I'm resentful when the most obvious things seem to happen to opposite, like Murphy's Law will happen. And I blame God instead of just being like, hey, this is a problem we're going to solve now. But I get like, God, why are you so quiet? I want to serve you. Show me how. Like I do. I get real frustrated because I do find that my highest purpose and joy is when I know that I am here for a reason, and all of our search for meaning is really vital to happiness.
So after that rough month of July with sobriety date of August 6th, what happened on the 6th? That was the day of your last drink. Was it a rock bottom?
No, this is just a really quiet progression into certainty where every time I drink, I show up less for myself. And learning that if I just show up one more minute for myself in doing what I say I'm going to do with integrity, that one more minute gives me one more chance to be here for a reason, to be of service to someone, to be here for my kids, to be here for my parents, for the person I walk past on the street, to be alive. And if I don't show up for myself today, again, I don't get this chance. And so I had the practice with the 3 months. So I picked that back up again and stopped accusing myself of being back at day one. And I stopped beating myself up about having to start over and just went with, you know what? I get this one moment to be authentic, to face reality. Maybe I'm not happy. I don't have the option of using alcohol for that. I don't have the option of using food for that. I can figure out why I'm not happy a different way. I don't know what the way is yet.
Sarah, that was beautiful how you phrased it. You said, I'm going to show up just one more minute for myself. And listeners, some people do quit drinking and never look back. It's like a one and done thing. I've interviewed only a few of them after 568 episodes. Most of it is stacking, right? You just like a little bit more progress at a time. really trying to nudge that big container ship called an addiction into like calmer seas, shall we say. But I loved it. Showing up one more minute for myself. And it sounds like you're still in that moment right now. Like you're still just like, I'm just going to keep showing up just a little bit longer for myself. And we're 125 days in. Do I have that right?
Yeah, it's 125. I'm showing up right now. I thought I was kind of having a low day when I woke up this morning, and I might need to not talk to people today because I didn't have that, oh yeah, I'm going to go conquer the world right now and I'm going to share my story. But I'm showing up because that's what I think is in front of me right now. And like if somebody told me on a podcast, or no, it was just I was listening to a story about how if you feel like you've got a rope and you're trying to climb it and it's slipping and I'm slipping and I can't and I'm gonna slip, and that's what I am today, tie a knot and hang on. And eventually you won't start slipping anymore. And the knot is just in this moment, can I hang on? And I know my emotion's gonna change. I know the day's gonna change. I know the sun is gonna set and everything is going to exhale if I can hang on.
I like that analogy of the rope. The first rule of ropes when you're falling down it is to tie a knot. And I think the first rule of holes, if you're in one, is to stop digging and to throw the shovel out, right? It's not that obvious. It's not obvious when you're in it at all. But, you get away. It's like, oh, okay. The insight's different. So in this moment, and gosh, again, I love how you have phrased it. In this just moment where you're still going forward without alcohol, have there been moments where you're like, hey, it wasn't that bad? If I did have a problem with alcohol, I couldn't go 125 days.
It is. It all the time. It's like, well, I didn't have a rock bottom. I didn't have the worst thing ever. And I was like, I don't want a rock bottom though. I try and think of it. Well, so I'm gonna get one if I go back there. I've been told in most gentle and easy way by the universe that drinking is not my ultimate path. Why am I fighting with that? It seems like the most easy and gentle way for me to go forward with my life and to accomplish my dreams and to be an example for my children and my family is to not drink and find out what's going on inside of me instead.
You mentioned the universe gently told you that alcohol was not an option or something aligned with you. Uh, Describe that a little bit more.
Shoot, I think I've heard a lot of stories where people hit rock bottom multiple times. They are almost dead. They, get barely resuscitated, or someone dies, or, they lose everything. They lose their company, their job, their house, all their money. I didn't have to go through that. And I knew I had to stop drinking. That's a gentle, that's a gentle push. I have an art studio. I have a partner who absolutely I love, who doesn't drink. I have two kids who are amazingly well adjusted and smart and beautiful. I have I have enough to live in San Diego comfortably. Like that is the kindest, gentlest alcoholism I've ever heard of. And I will not deny that I have alcoholism and go back to thinking I can do it. And wow, that's really a easy knock on the head. Didn't even knock me all the way out. Well, it did a couple times. I definitely don't remember some things. And my kids will tell me things I said or promised or did. And I'd be like, I did that? Like, oh, crap.
It also sounds like the blinders were removed. I heard a version of play the tape forward. I think it's like, what will happen if you continue to drink. Am I correct?
Yeah. I know it will happen. I will get dark and hate myself and have no hope in my heart about the possibilities of this beautiful life. I could see that really clearly. And I really love the moments when I can connect and feel joy and know that I didn't have to use alcohol to do it. And today or yesterday or tomorrow, I'm going to be in a down place where I'm like, gosh, I really wish I could get some relief from this like sad feeling. And I know, oh, yeah, alcohol will relieve this for a minute. But I know that's consequence after that is that it'll double down on the oppression that comes after it.
Let's unpack that for a bit because it's so hard for people to create space after that discomfort, right? What you just said, wow, I have been feeling down. Alcohol will make me feel better. The neurons, they're still there in my brain as well, right?
Mhm.
And we have a rough day. If something works, it's so effective, it's so reliable, so socially accepted, it's on billboards, you see it daily. We go there first every time. How did you put space between that? Not feeling good, I want to get a drink. Wait, I'm not going to get a drink. I think you hinted on it. You know what? I'm going to show up just one more minute for myself. And you're still in that minute right now. And time is an illusion in itself. Thank you, Einstein. It's one of his greatest discoveries. But yeah, just explain that a little bit more. You did a great job.
So I feel sad, bummed out. I feel like I have every blessing in my life in front of me that's so obvious, yet I'm sitting here feeling bummed. I'm going to remember, oh, you know what'll alleviate that is that bubbly, effervescent, like, oh, relief of alcohol. But that's not dealing with the problem or the reality that, hey, maybe I can spend a little time in gratitude. Maybe I can spend a little time in prayer. Maybe I can serve someone in some way. But the instant that I consider alcohol, I have to go, oh, yeah, that's not actually an option. Right away, oh, yeah, I do acknowledge that that would relieve this, but that is 100% not an option. And I had to hear people tell me that a million times. Like I could tell all of the people who are drinking on the corner, hey, alcohol isn't an option for you anymore, but they wouldn't be able to choose that sentence for themselves until somehow something shifted and said, oh, it really isn't an option and I have to take it off the table. So yeah, I'm sad right now. Let's try every other possible thing that will put gratitude back into me.
We spoke a bit before I hit record for this interview about that, about sadness. And I used to think that I was doing something wrong in recovery in general, definitely not suited to be behind a microphone or write books about wholeness if I was experiencing sadness, which is completely incorrect. And I do still struggle with this. What I have learned is that you have to know the sour to know the sweet, and that life is supposed to suck at times. Life is supposed to be uncomfortable so you can, for defining purposes, understand comfort. Happy to know sad, tall to know short, sound to know silence. The world of form to know the world of spirit. It's just part of this world of duality that we live in. And I do still experience depression, anxiety, that stuff, but it's not like the month-long visit like your July that you spoke about. It's like a 2 to 3 day. It's like a 2 to 3 day thing. And sometimes it matches the weather. Sometimes it's like really windy outside and my inside state matches the outside state. Sometimes it just doesn't have to mean shit. It just is what it is.
It doesn't mean shit
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Man.
So Sarah, where has food been with this?
It coincided with the decision to take it off the table as a coping mechanism. Taking alcohol off the table as a coping mechanism. I have no idea how that happened, but I did not agree with it. Like I would be there having to deal with the meal and then just leave and go down to the beach and struggle with like anxiety and drama regarding food and beer or alcohol. Beer was my favorite, but like I had to do both of those things simultaneously. I tried to recover with one without the other, and then one the other without. I remember this one day I was out surfing and I was like making deals with God. Okay, God, explain to me this, explain to me that. Here's the deal. If you have a dolphin swim by right now before I get out of the water, I will quit drinking 100% and I'll know it's you. But if you have pelicans, at least a series of five, because we have a lot of pelicans, I will know that I should quit messing with food and do that. And I will not ever go into that again. And that's my deal with you. And guess what? Neither one showed up. Like, okay, he doesn't want a deal. He wants me to make a deal with myself. He wants me to do this because of me. This is a cosmic direction that I'm supposed to go in, but it's inside of me to make the choice. And there's no magic that's going to do it for me. Like a potted dolphin is going to swim up to my surfboard. And that's where my brain goes sometimes. But I have to go run away from myself to the ocean. And I'm still there. I'm still thinking, but I love the concept of running away from myself and then acknowledging that I'm still there. So I'm lucky to be at the beach and to do that kind of thing. And when it gets too much and I have to recover from both of those things at the same time, getting in the water, I could do that. Any emergency moment. So getting into nature in an emergency is super key.
Sarah, I'd love to ask you about art and creativity and how has that rebounded or has it rebounded in the last 125 days? How is painting beneficial to your recovery?
It's been both things. First of all, how it's been beneficial is that passing that time of anxiety is really smooth in a studio space. If I don't know what to do with my physical self, putting myself in here with my oil paint and my palette and a canvas and a concept, the time takes all of my attention, and my attention can't be on that problem. So I love that creative space to do that. On the contrast, there was a ton of worry that if I don't drink and have drama, the drama of alcohol or addiction in my life, I wouldn't have any expressive abilities and expressive capacities. And I found that that's not true. I'm actually producing equally beautiful work.
That's a great realization that you don't have to cut off your left ear to have the pain needed to create art. You know I'm referencing, right?
Oh yeah. and and that's a scary thing for an artist that they're not going to have any creative ability anymore. I did this
Oh my
one
gosh.
just this past 2 weeks, and it's a painting of the sunset from when I have been going down to experience some freedom from addictive mindset. So I painted what the ocean and the water has been looking like during that time. So that's kind of recovery expressing itself in a physical way.
Listeners, yeah, you can't see what I'm looking at, but I see a surfer holding a surfboard a couple steps out from the water. The sun is 3 or 4 minutes away from setting. There's clouds in the sky. It's reflecting off the water. I was going to mention this earlier, and it's a rapid fire round question I was going to ask, but what are your favorite colors? But I can see the colors in all of your paintings. I love the colors. What is your favorite color?
I like blue. I'm pretty standard, but blue has so much depth to it. And when I started painting off with a bright magenta and then layer it with blue, the blue becomes so much more dynamic. So,
Hey, did you see the dolphins on the wall behind you?
yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
I did.
There you go.
I've seen the dolphin before.
All
Not at
right.
that prayer moment, but they did come.
Okay. The time of how our prayers are answered doesn't follow Newtonian time. It's not A, B, C, D, E. It's not today, then tomorrow. And I realized this like 5 years after I took my last drink. So in the summer of 2014, it got rough. My fire swamp, I called it. And every single morning, every single day, and I was an atheist at the time, I'd have countless foxhole prayers. Dear God, please effing help. And in the morning time, I would say that prayer and I was so hungover and I could barely get out of bed. And my dog would just keep licking my face. I had a puppy, he's like 60 pounds or whatever, just would jump on me and lick my face. And it was 6 years after my last drink. I was walking around and I kind of just stopped. I was like, holy shit, that prayer was answered, but it was answered 8 months before I quit drinking. That makes sense? Like the timeline. That prayer was answered before I even asked. That dog is the reason that I'm not dead. That's it. Plain done, period. It was this beautiful moment. It's like, oh shit, my prayers have been answered. It's just a timeline. You know, we think it has to ask now and then later in the day or tomorrow or the next day, it will be delivered. I think this is Mark 11:24 in the Bible, ask and you shall receive. But you may ask now, but you may have received it yesterday or the year before. In the case of my standard poodle, that none of us would be here without that dog right now. And my dog is 12 years old. We're in the golden years right now, let's say it. And I've got a difficult time coming up in about whatever. I don't even think about it, but you get the point. Sarah, I got one more question for you before we hit the rapid fire round. How are you going to hit day 126?
Tomorrow is going to be a Wednesday, and my home AA group is on a Wednesday, and I will be really proud to go in there and say I have day 126. And also alcohol isn't on the table. So when I hit that wall, or if I don't hit the wall, I'll have to do something else, some other tool, breathing, meditation, going for a run, getting in the water, something else.
Yeah, those are good options too. They are. Well, Sarah, we have hit the rapid fire round. If you could answer these questions within 5 to 10 seconds, that would be great. Are you ready?
Okay.
Who is your favorite painter?
Oh, I like Monet. See, blue, Monet, all these are standards, but Monet had amazing texture and way that he saw paint.
What are your thoughts on Bob Ross?
Bob Ross is awesome. I love his little pocket squirrel, and his philosophy while he paints is priceless.
Yeah, happy little bird, happy little tree. What's your favorite alcohol-free drink?
I don't know when I'm going to get over Diet Coke, but it's really a great drink for me.
You do water-based paints or oil-based paints?
Do oil-based paint.
Yeah. What's the point of life, Sarah?
To love others, yourself, and to serve God.
Where's the best surfing in the world?
Avarua on Cloudbreak. Oh my gosh. Also Pipeline. But yeah, I'm a goofy foot, so that Cloudbreak left is amazing.
What does the new year mean to you as this episode is coming out on January 5th?
Ooh, that is just building a whole new core belief system to live by.
And what do you have to say to those who are 5 days in their goal this year to quit drinking and they might be like, nah, not for me?
That it is a brilliant, enlightened thought you had to try quitting drinking. So don't sell that short.
And before we depart, Sarah, give listeners your own "you might need to ditch the booze if" line.
That one I tried to prepare for so much, but I mean, you might need to ditch the booze if it even occurs to you that you might have a better life outside it.
Love it. Sarah, thank you so much for being here on the podcast and sharing your story. I also want to thank you for your tour. Listeners, while she was doing the interview, she was walking around in the background. I've loved the colors. I see a palm tree in a painting. Again, that sunset scene with the guy holding the surfboard. My gosh.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Yes, of course.
Ooh, look at that one. Oh my gosh. Where can people find your paints? Are they for your prints, your paintings? Are they for sale?
They are for sale in San Diego. I'm not sure I'm ready to give out all my information. That'll make me super public, first and last name and all that. But
not a problem.
Eventually I'll have the courage to show my whole self. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
A question that I sometimes get is, what's the difference between Recovery Elevator and Café RE? Well, Recovery Elevator is this podcast. It's our courses like Dry January, our ukulele course, our alcohol-free songwriting course. Recovery Elevator is also retreats. We do sober travel. We have an annual retreat in Bozeman. Last year we went to Vietnam and Peru, and we're getting another sober travel trip on the books. Recovery Elevator has its own coffee, sweatshirts, hats, bracelets, and of course we have an Instagram account. If you want to learn more about RE, go to our website. Link is in the show notes. That's recoveryelevator.com. Now, Café RE is the nonprofit alcohol-free community. We're about 900 strong. It's the social app for sober people. We've got about 25 plus online chats or meetings per week. We have in-house AA meetings. We have book club. We have movie club. We have an accountability partner program. And I think this is the most loving, non-judgmental community on the internet. If you're struggling with alcohol, don't struggle alone. We hope to see you in Café RE. Recovery Elevator, you took the elevator down. We got to take the stairs back up. We can do this.
see you, Savior, I see you, Savior, Almighty Savior, I see you, Savior, I see you, Savior, I see you, Savior, Almighty Savior, I see you, Savior.